Hey guys, Vass here from Aussie Playground and welcome to another unboxing. Today we're going to be looking at the DHK Hunter. Now this is a 1/10 scale 4-wheel drive brushless short course truck and it does come ready to run. Now I'm going to say that this is a little bit of a viewer request. I've had a couple of people in the past ask me about DHK and if I could actually try one out, but I've never really known where to get them from, and the couple of sites that I did find, you know, the logistics of it was just a little bit difficult for me. So recently I've been buying a few things from Asiatees, and I noticed while I was browsing their website the other day that they're actually starting to stock some ready to run vehicles, which I think is fantastic. So I noticed that they had the DHK there, and I figured, hey, you know, why not try this truck out? I mean, it's a brand that I've never had before, so this is brand new to me, and I think it'll be a really good competitor against the Hobby King Basher that you see on the top corner over there. Although this is a little bit more expensive. I think this one is about $270, $275 Australian, and there is a brushed version as well for much less money if you know, if the brushless version is a little bit beyond your budget. But it does come a little bit better equipped than the Basher, I believe. It looks as though it does, I mean, at least on paper. There are a few aluminium upgrades on here that the Basher doesn't have, and I think it's going to be a tough decision to see which one actually comes out on top. Now, you can see the speed here on the box, 56 kilometers an hour, or about 35 mile an hour. That's probably a 3S, I'm assuming, which is about the same speed as what the Turnigy Trooper and the Basher did with the stock motor and ESC. So I think this is pretty much on par as far as speed. It just comes down to now durability, the handling characteristics, and how it comes equipped. So let's go ahead and open the box and see how this guy comes packaged up inside. I've got my trusty knife over here. We're going to go ahead and open the box, or to make this a bit quicker, we can just do that. And there it is. Won't be needing that. Get rid of that one. All right, quickest unboxing ever, I think. So you can see we have our remote. Now, interesting thing, the receiver did not come installed in the truck, so no big deal for me. I know how to install the radio into an RC. If you don't know how to do it, be sure to ask somebody if yours doesn't come installed, but mine didn't. Now, user manual, pretty straightforward. It does come with a little antenna tube, which I'll need, of course, because this guy's got a little antenna sticking out of it. Pop that aside. No tools or spare parts that I could find in the box. The remote itself, however, is, I think, an interesting addition to this truck, because it's actually one of the better equipped remotes that I've come across. It does feel a little bit cheap. It's very light, it's very plasticky, but everything seems to be working very well. I haven't tried it yet though, but the trigger actually has some good resistance on it. I think that the trigger itself is actually quite good. The handle, the grip on the remote, it's all plastic, but it is a little bit big, so probably not ideal for small hands, but you probably might get away with it. It does fit very nicely in the palm of my hand. So very nice little grip on there. Collapsible antenna, which is pretty good. It runs on 4 AA's as well. I'll show you that just there so you can see. And on the back you can see a bunch of little knobs, and I'll go through them all. You've got steering dual rate, throttle dual rate, and I've got to say the throttle dual rate is actually a great thing to have on a remote, because if you have one of these, let's say you got the brushless version and you want to hand it over to a small child to have a go, the throttle dual rate will actually turn down your speed a little bit. So this comes in handy because you can sort of go, yeah, no worries, I'll give you a go, and you turn it down, and that way, you know, he's not running at 50 plus k's an hour into the curb. This is a great thing to have on a remote, I think. You've also got steering trim, throttle trim there as well, reverse switches just over here, on and off switch. And there's actually, I'm hoping you guys can see that on camera there, but there's actually some lights up the top here letting you know when your remote battery is actually running a little bit low. So pretty well equipped. There's also a little sliding adjustment over here, which I'm not 100% sure what that does. I'm going to have to check out the manual to see what that's all about. The wheel is actually very cool because I don't know if you guys can see, but there's actually a little bit of a flat spot on the bottom here. Kind of reminds you of a, you know, like a racing wheel that you'd have on a sports car. It does have a rubber outer grip, So very nice, feels very good in the hand. It seems to, yeah, everything about it, apart from the fact that it's all plastic, it does actually feel really good in the hand. Good grip, pretty light. I think it'll work well. So that is the remote, and I think we've talked about enough about that. Let's have a closer look at the truck. There it is there, in all its magnificent glory. Give you the full 360 treatment here. And there it is. All right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take the body off. And just a quick comment on the body. It does feel a little bit flimsy. It does not feel like Lexan. It feels like that PVC stuff. So it's about the same sort of quality that you'd find on the Basher anyway. I don't think this is any different. It does look a little bit better than the one that Hobby King supply. So that's, I suppose, a plus. But I think durability wise, it's going to be probably about the same. I'm going to try and avoid landing on the roof with this one, just in case it fails on me. The truck itself. This is what we're here for. Let's have a look at this guy. Give you a little bit of a quick look, and I'll run you through some of the things that this guy comes with. And before we get cracking into any of that, I'm going to quickly put it on the table here, and I'm going to show you. I know you won't be able to feel this, obviously. It would be good, but the suspension on this truck out of the box, no word of a lie, it is probably one of the best suspension setups I've seen on any RTR. It feels phenomenal. The dampness, the spring rate, everything that they've done here, fantastic. I honestly just think I probably need to tighten up my springs a little bit, and I'm good to go. So really, really nice plush suspension. It just feels proper, the way that an RTR should come out of the box. It does have 3 diffs as well. Now, I believe that these diffs are not oil filled, but of course you can always pull them out and fill them with oil if you wish. Going back to the shocks, these are the shocks that you have. Now, these are plastic body shocks, but they are big bore shocks. I think these are not 12, 14 mil from memory. I could be wrong on that. They do have plastic caps on them, but the plastic on it feels really, really sturdy, feels really strong. They are threaded body chocks as well, so just a little bit of a twist on the on this little washer here, and you can tighten or tension your spring rate very easily. And as I said, the suspension on this just feels fantastic. Aluminium shock towers front and rear. Now, these are pressed aluminium towers, so again, you do run the risk of bending them a little bit, but you know, Asiatees will have you covered if you do run into trouble and need spares. Aluminium upper deck as well, as you can clearly see. The motor, now this does run 48 pitch gears as opposed to Mod 1 gearing that the Basher runs. So just bear that in mind. It does have an aluminium motor mount, and I'm hoping that you guys can see that, but there are various positions there to mount your motor. There's holes all over the motor mount there. And that is adjustable underneath, very much like the Basher is. So once you have the motor mounted on the actual mounting plate itself, you can just slide it in and out from here to mesh up to your center diff. 45 amp ESC on the back. Also bear in mind that none of this stuff is waterproof, so just remember, no splashing through water. 6 kilogram steering servo. Now, the servo itself, I mean, I can't really tell whether or not it's going to be any strong, but I will say that there is a little bit of slop in the front steering here. Mind you, the Basher was no different. Now, a really cool upgrade that this has that the Basher does not have is it has CVDs all the way around. It also has adjustable camber and toe links on the front, adjustable camber on the back, which you can probably see just here. Velcro straps for your battery for your battery tray as well, nice and easy. No need for body pins or anything like that. There's our metal CVDs. Probably might see that there, might not. Metal center drive shaft going all the way through. Well, it's actually in 2 parts, obviously, split apart by its by the center diff there. pretty well sealed receiver box as well. So this will, I mean, I don't think it's waterproof like I said, but at least it'll keep a lot of dust and debris away. So that way your receiver's not going to get knocked about with gravel and dirt and what have you. So that'll be really good. Adjustable body posts as well. I'm a huge fan of adjustable body posts, and what they've done here is they've actually done them with body pins. So I'm hoping you guys can see that okay. So you can just pull the pins out, very easy, no tools required, and adjust your body posts accordingly. Very, very nice. The shocks are also mounted onto the shock towers with these. I'll get my fat head out of the way so you guys can see these properly. It's also mounted onto the shock towers with these like aluminium spacers. So really, really nice layout, I gotta say. I mean, all the aluminium does look pressed, it does not look machined, but I think it's going to hold up okay. My ESC is popping out a little bit there. Might need to put some fresh tape on that one. I was looking at it earlier and it looks like they've sort of zip tied these cables a little bit too tight here, and it's kind of pulling the ESC up, so I'm gonna have to cut this zip tie off and just give it a little bit of slack, just so it sits down on the chassis properly. No aluminium chassis on this one, it's all plastic, but you can see that there's a little bit of a taper to it. Hopefully against the light you might be able to see there's a little bit of a taper, and that obviously adds a little bit of rigidity to the chassis, which is great. Now there are no sway bars installed in this truck, but I believe that there is a provision for them here, so you can actually get sway bars for it. They've actually got some spacing in the actual A-arms, both front and rear, and the sway bar will actually tuck in. You won't be able to see it, I don't think, but it'll tuck in through here, and the same thing at the front. It'll just tuck in just above the diff casing just there. Now tires, these tires and wheels, I've got to say they actually look pretty good, but the tires themselves, the rubber compound feels a little bit hard. I guess for durability that's great, but for grip, questionable. I'm not too sure about this tread pattern, but it feels a little bit too hard, it feels a little bit too smooth. Not sure how this is going to hold up. I think, like I said, durability wise they'll be fine. They are foam filled, and the foam does feel a little bit dense, which I guess is not a bad thing, but just the rubber compound feels a little bit too firm. I don't know, we'll see. Until I put it on the ground with the battery and actually run it, I'm not going to know for sure, but we'll see how that all holds up. Front and rear bumpers, the front bumper's actually got a fair bit of flex to it. I mean, you guys can see that there. Quite a fair bit of flex, which is great. The rear bumper, goodness, there's not much flex, so it's going to take a fair hit. So that I think is okay as well, because it's mounted right onto your diff casing here, so it's not putting any pressure on your shock tower. So if you land on your bum here, you'll be okay. You're not going to damage this guy, you'll be alright. I like the fact that there's also a little bit of flexibility in these upper A-arms, which kind of double as your adjustment for your camber. But if you have a look at the steering bell crank just here, I'll try and show you this. I'll bring it into the center of the screen there. So just here, just this bit here. It is plastic, but it's a different plastic. It's actually similar to what I'm seeing on the shock caps. So yeah, this steering bell crank is not going to give you any troubles, I don't think. It's a nice hard plastic. It feels completely different to what I'm seeing, say, on the bumpers or even on the body posts here that have a little bit of flex. I know that certain RCs out there, when they have steering assemblies in plastic, you know, if you cop a bit of a hit in your front wheels, or if you put a little bit too much pressure on them, that tends to flex and your steering can sort of go out and you're not getting the steering that you really want. Having this type of composite plastic, I think, is a great thing. So Nerf bars, of course. There are no droop screws on this guy, but it looks as though the A-arms do have provisions for them. Although you'd be sort of putting it straight onto the actual plastic chassis. I'm not sure how droop screws go on plastic chassis. Usually you tend to use them on aluminium chassis. At least that's my experience with it anyway. Everything else looks very good. It does use all Philips hardware right through. I'm not totally against Philips hardware. I'm more against RC companies that mix hex and Philips screws. It's bad enough when you have a car that has all hex hardware, which I know a lot of people like, but you always need about 3 or 4 different tools to be able to take out all the different screws or different size screws that they have. With Philips, generally it's just a one tool, and that makes very easy to work on. But when you mix it up, it's just a mess. It's a nightmare. My Tim Associated rival is probably the best example of what not to do with hardware, you know, when it comes to screws. On the same skid plate on that truck, they've used both Philips and hex screws, and I cannot figure out why they would do that. But at least here it's all Philips, nice and easy to work on. To me, this looks pretty good. I'm actually, you know, first impressions, I'm going to say it looks good. I think for the money, it certainly looks as though it's going to deliver. I know that you can probably spend another $100 or $150 or so and step up to a Tim Associated, or perhaps even get a Traxxas or something along those lines. For about the same money, you're probably going to be looking at a maybe a brushed two-wheel drive from one of the bigger brands. You might get away with a brushless two-wheel drive, depending on where you go and what you get. But for a four-wheel drive, brushless, ready to run, fair enough, there's no battery or charger, but I think this is going to be a decent truck, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it stands up against the Hobby King Basher up there. But I think I'm going to leave it here, guys. This is my unboxing of the DHK Hunter brushless edition short course truck. Thank you very much for watching. Please be sure to check out the video description for links to Asiatees, as well as links to this truck and my Facebook page and a bunch of other stuff. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you next time. Hey guys, Vass here from Aussie. Today I've got the DHK Hunter. Damn it. It does also come ready to run, which I think is quite a good deal. And I guess you could say that this is a little bit of a restart. Yeah, restart. And I have to say that I've kind of... Now this is a 1/10 scale 4-wheel drive brushless short course truck that comes ready to run.